And now it's time for another Booze and News top story.
This week's top story is pretty big news, I guess, that came out, yesterday? That they're about to fuck over RV Wade.
Yeah, I think it came.
Oh, late.
Came out,
It came out at night,
leaked,
right?
they leaked Alito's. Yeah, they leaked Alito's. I think majority opinion on it.
On Politico,
Draft.
right? I think I have that article.
Well, his first draft is a lot better than the drafts I did in college, so give him credit for that.
Oh God.
But he's not, reading through it. I read the first few pages of it, and he's not coming from an ideological standpoint. And people are protesting outside, but it's like the Supreme Court isn't really swayed by public opinion. That's not what they're supposed to be. So I don't know what.
They're supposed to, go by a precedent, of which there's like 50-something years on the books of this one, and of which when Kavanaugh and I forget the other one was appointed, said that Roe v. Wade is law and that they would codified into law and they wouldn't challenge it, and of course that was all bullshit because this has been the Republican plan
politicking.
Yeah.
It was politics, and to be fair, they were in an inherently political atmosphere when they said that. They were in Congress, being firm, always. But the opinion was that, the change, the rights to an abortion, they need to be legislated, not decided by the Supreme Court, which I think is kind of practical. I mean,
yeah,
I think rights don't need to be determined like on technicalities legally. They need to be codified in legislation, and we've missed out on that because of Roe v. Wade. It's great. I think people should have access to that, but his opinion didn't come off as political to me. It was pretty common sense. He was saying that our job is to interpret the Constitution, and
there's some problems. There's some inherent problems with that because one, when the country was founded, fuck all that. The Constitution is the end all be all height of society, and that's where we should have stopped because of course we've amended it. Look. This whole thing about not deciding states' rights or whatever is going to be a very, very slippery slope. There was the senator who came out not that long ago that was saying that, this is really a states' rights issue, and he referenced the case. I'm trying to remember the name. It was the one that legalized interracial marriages. So it's like, should that be up for debate as well? You know what I mean? Like, this is, even in his opinion piece that was leaked, Alito references the Obergefell and Hodges case, which was the same-sex marriage case, and he also references Lawrence versus Texas, which was the one that legalized sodomy, right? And look, this is just exactly what they're going to do, because this has been the satanic panic right-wing cult that is a bunch of evangelists trying to make everybody else live up to their moral standards, right?
Well, that's very far from what's going on to me, because the Supreme Court, I mean, their role isn't to craft legislation. It's not to decide what rights we have. What is and isn't a law. That's Congress's job. Supreme Court, their job is to interpret that and federally set precedent on how things are going to be, on what they're able to prosecute on. And
but we've done that. We've done that throughout society with. We've done that throughout society with when it comes to desegregating and all that kind of things. You know what I mean?
Right, but again, this proves that if you rely on the Supreme Court for that, it's going to be flimsy, and it always was. I mean, there have always been Roe v. Wade has come under attack a few times. It's not like it's this solid thing that's always been Like, it's not a law. If we want these rights, we have to actually
Well,
have them legislated.
I do.
Codify them in law.
I do,
Otherwise,
yeah, I do agree with you on that point at least. I do believe that it should be codified into law, and I do believe that Biden needs to man the fuck up and get rid of the filibuster and allow his people who won the majority to do their goddamn job. Now, of course, standing in the way of that is Joe Manchin, that little bitch. But look, I get what you're saying about the Supreme Court, and I agree. Fuck the Supreme Court, in all honesty. There are ways around the Supreme Court as well. If you look at when Abraham Lincoln was a president, he appointed more Supreme Court justices because they were fucking around. You know what I mean? And wouldn't let him do the executive stuff that he needed to get done.
Well, I'm not really saying any of that. I mean, I think that the Supreme Court made a decision that, in terms of the balance of powers, is actually good, and I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on legislators. I think in the long term, we'll probably see real laws passed in favor of women's rights, abortion rights.
Well, it doesn't look like that at all right now. It looks nothing like that at all right now. When Alito is talking about challenging same-sex marriage and the right of even people behind closed doors to consent to same-sex intercourse, okay?
Well,
that does not appear to be, anything beneficial for the rights of marginalized people in our society.
This is completely different. That's not their role. And if this is the point, is that that's not their role. And if we pretend that it is, we end up with very flimsy rights. Well, we have to codify this stuff into law if we want to actually have that expressed as law and not just kind of a flimsy technicality. I think we deserve that. I think women deserve that.
I agree that it should be codified into law, but it won't be until we can't do it if we can't get rid of the filibuster and some of this bullshit. That's been the problem.
But that's the thing. It's like now there's more pressure on lawmakers to do that because there isn't this flimsy technicality that allows people to skirt to pretend that there is a law. We need to actually make that a law and not use these technicalities to do that. And I think that's true. I mean, these people protesting out in front of the Supreme Court, your public opinion is not supposed to sway the Supreme Court like that. I mean,
well, I think it's also highly it shows that the opinion of the Supreme Court is highly unpopular. I mean, from this polling that I've seen, since Roe v. Wade was passed, right? It has been in a majority opinion, except for like one time in the 90s where it dropped to like 47%. But it's always been a majority polling opinion in the country that it's been approved, at least in the majority of cases, and especially in the cases when you include rape and incest. But like right now it's around 69-70%, I'm saying. And the fact that you're going to have 6-3 judges potentially vote against it does not represent. It shows that the Supreme Court is not a representative branch whatsoever. And I believe, fuck the Supreme Court. I think that they shouldn't have lifetime appointments. That's also garbage. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not supposed to be representative.
But these things that you say, it doesn't mean, just because it's the way that we've done things forever, doesn't mean that they shouldn't be changed. Why should we have lifetime appointed Supreme Court justices? People live to be 100-something fucking years old now. That's stupid.
Right. The people that crafted the Constitution believe that. That's why we have things like Congress and the Supreme Court. That's why Congress is allowed to amend the Constitution, because it's not supposed to stand like that for all of time.
Right.
But their role is to interpret the laws.
Sure.
And there weren't laws on the book regarding abortion.
And no, of course not, because there weren't laws on the books regarding black men as people, because they were considered property. They were considered, you added them up,
There were laws there were laws regarding abortion, but there wasn't, it wasn't made a law, and the Roe v. Wade was kind of creating a legality out of something that was sort of a technicality. Like, I don't know, you can't create a law out of case law. I don't know. This is a really shitty interpretation of his opinion, but the point is his majority like draft opinion that he wrote, that was based on, you know,
if it boils down to this, though, let's say it boils down to this. Let's say it boils down to the challenge once again of states' rights versus, you know, federal rights, right? Kind of bad precedent, you know what I mean? Especially if, like, if
I mean, it's up to Congress whether or not it was always. The thing is, like, Roe v. Wade was always just kind of kicking the can down the road, and it's to the point now where these women deserve to have this law passed, and for that to be, you know, it's never really set in stone, but.
Well, and also it doesn't fucking work. I read another statistic that said that when Texas has started initiating some of these 6-week abortion bans, and Texas has always been one of the hardest critics since it passed, right? People like Ted Cruz in the past decade have tried to close down all Planned Parenthoods, essentially, right? Defund them. It has not eradicated abortions. In fact, I saw that it took the number down from, like 4%. You know what I mean? Because now people just ended up going out of state or getting stuff online, like pills online, or doing backroom fucking abortions. I mean, I heard a story about a woman who got an abortion, I guess it was like in the 70s, right before Roe versus Wade, and she said that her experience was horrifying because, you know, she had to be blindfolded and taken into a goddamn room so she didn't know anybody, couldn't identify anybody, you know what I mean? It's not going to stop them is the point, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think it is, but again, like I think these women deserve it to be legalized federally, and if we can do that, I think it's going to be difficult to undo, more difficult than the Supreme Court, changing their opinion about it.
I'm with you, but I don't see that actually working because the Democrats refuse to do things like get rid of the filibuster. Joe Manchin, that little bitch, sits there and goes, oh, well, you know, we have to respect the filibuster, which is also not a part of the Constitution, you know what I mean? When you want to talk about shit like that. But the Republicans have no problem with doing away with shit like that if it benefits them. They're already talking about if they win the majority in Congress, they're going to try to propose a federal ban on abortion. So even blue states cannot perform them, which is just shows the ultimate hypocrisy of their goddamn argument, which is states' rights, states' rights, states' rights. But as soon as they get the potential, they're going to try to push a federal ban across the fucking board. You know what I mean?
Whose argument? Are you talking about somebody in Congress?
Yes.
Well, I understand that.
This is the red meat to their evangelical base, the ones that come out and vote.
These all have something in common, and it's one branch of government not doing their job, and so their responsibility is then offloaded onto another branch where, you know, it shouldn't exist because it causes a lot of problems. Like with the Supreme Court, you know, legalizing gay marriage, and same thing with Roe v. Wade. These things should be laws. They shouldn't be decided by the Supreme Court.
Well, I don't know. I just disagree to some extent because I don't see... Well, I agree in some extent and I disagree in some extent. I disagree in the fact because when it becomes a thing that it's inhibiting person's personal liberty, right? And personal freedom, that is something that the Supreme Court does rule on and does talk about, you know what I mean? Because we do have certain personal liberties and freedoms that are supposed to be granted to us, but some of us are second-class citizens in that regard, right?
Well, the Supreme Court can interpret the Constitution. Within that is the Bill of Rights, I guess. But again, you know, it's never going to be as strong as if it's made into a law.
I know, and I agree, and it should be. But like I said, at the present construction and state of it, we will see what happens.
It's like, yeah, it makes sense why people would do that. It makes sense why you would want the Supreme Court to do that. People deserve these laws, and Congress really isn't doing anything. But pressure needs to be put on Congress, not on the Supreme Court. They're under no. Again, they have. This is the reason why, like, they have lifetime appointments. Their job isn't to be swayed by public opinion. It's to be good legislators and interpret the law that way.
Well, but that's also horseshit, because their main objective of being appointed was to get rid of these because of public opinion, because of their evangelical and moral roots, right? To say that they weren't political actors is horse crap at this point, you know.
Right. But one way to co-opt that, like to head that off at the pass, is to pass a law.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back there.
But
we need pressure on Congress to actually do something with this. And, you know, it's part of that is there are a lot of old people in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Congress effectively, for some districts, is effectively a lifetime appointment. I think there should be age caps. I don't think we should allow lobbying.
Oh no, I agree, but it's difficult as fuck to address. Like, I mean, not to get too segue, but it's like you talk about the lobbying, or even just allowing them to trade stocks and shit, right? They write the rules that regulate themselves, so the majority of them aren't going to pass that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it would be wildly popular. The thing is, when Congress people show integrity and they make decisions for the people, you have the ability to get this groundswelling of support that's way over and above whatever the QAnon people and the Trump people are getting. I mean, I think...
Well, sure, because that's like 30% of the population. You know what I mean? There's not enough of them to be the majority. You know what I mean?
The thing is, you know, I think that the answer is in electing better people and in fixing the system. And the actual majority opinion draft, it's hard to argue with that, mainly because I have no legal expertise. But aside from that, I mean, I think the pressure should have always been on Congress to craft these laws.
No, I agree. And it is there. I do think that is Congress's job.
Thanks for watching. Follow Booze and News on Twitch. We live stream Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when we put up new content. Cheers.